Hello, it's John Gibbons here with Fuad Hasan for today's Talking Reds. It is Wednesday, it is match day. Liverpool play Newcastle tonight, so we're going to obviously be talking about that, but the transfer window closes tomorrow as well, so we're going to be talking a little bit about that in part 2 as well. But we'll get going because Ronnie Hot Dogs has got a meeting at 10:30. He says, can you get it all wrapped up? What a name Ronnie Hot Dogs is, by the way.
Do you reckon it's a new sausage supplier or something like that?
Ronnie Hot Dogs has got a big sausage meeting at 10:30 and wants us to get wrapped up. So, Ronnie, we're on it. We'll give you everything we've got between now and then. Leave everything on the pitch, which is what the Reds are going to do tonight, Fuad.
Brilliant. What a segue that was. Yeah, Ronnie Hot Dogs is brilliant. Yeah, they are. It's going to be an intense game. I think it's going to be one of those where Newcastle have got this new wind, haven't they? They had this momentum second half of last season. They've started well this season, and I think they're going to come here sort of with that fearlessness, maybe that other teams maybe haven't really shown at Anfield in quite a while. So I think it'll be tough. It'll be intense. They're missing some key players, which is good for us. And I think, if the Reds can just sort of keep some of that positive momentum from Bournemouth going into it, I think we can score. I think that's the big thing now. I think that they know how to score a goal and they know how to score first, which is a big thing. I think Liverpool needs to continue with that and get that first goal in the game.
Yeah, keeping that positivity going is the phrase used there, and that's key for me. Saturday was such a brilliant day. The 2-0 up in no time at all. They just keep going. The relentlessness, the intensity, it was everything that you symbolise about this Liverpool team when it's at its best, really. And so the fact that they're back in the same stadium, we're all back in the same stadium on Wednesday night. Obviously, it's not going to be the exact same crowd. I've said we're right in the city centre of Liverpool, for those who don't know, and seeing people around with Liverpool shirts and all that is brilliant, and something I personally really missed it in lockdown. But everyone's going to be so excited to get into Anfield tonight. The players are going to be bouncing onto the bus and all together, and it's just a complete change from where we were last week.
Exactly. There were so many man of the match performances last week, and so many different goal scorers, which was great, because there were some players in there who haven't had that taste yet of just scoring a goal for Liverpool and feeling really involved. And I thought, the likes of Diaz, the likes of Firmino will be really full of confidence, and they're both players, especially Firmino, I think, who once he gets that confidence and gets that momentum, he rides it really well. And look, we got an angry Mo Salah probably who wants to get on that score sheet as well. So don't count him out in terms of getting involved in goals. So yeah, there's loads to be excited about. I think the atmosphere will be great. It was good at the, against Bournemouth as well. And I think under the lights, everyone's had a pint or two maybe if they're lucky and got out of work early. So it should be a really good evening. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I reckon Mo Salah's had a really big couple of days of being skittered by his mates, which, as you know, for what I'm all for as a thing. Skitting your mates is the best, and he'll have had it. But you'll be, as you say, you'll be going like they all got to have a good time at the weekend, and this is my time. Building up sort of nicely for the derby. Would you be tempted to pick the same team again if you can? Obviously Harvey Elliott goes off at half time, but everything after the game was precautionary. We just sort of felt something, and listen, we were 5-0 up, so there was no need to and it was a nice chance to see Carvalho as well. But for me, if it's possible and if Elliott is fine, I'd be going the same again.
Definitely, I'm completely with that. I think the side needs a little bit of a run of consistency in terms of the lineup and the players forming these new relationships. I think the injuries being all over the place doesn't really help that, does it? Because you're sort of limited with your options, and I think it'll do everyone good to have one more, to go out there again. The defenders had a clean sheet, and they'd like to go and back that up with another one, I think, and the same with the midfield. There was the beginnings of the understanding of how that works, how that looks with an Elliott or a Carvalho in that midfield alongside Fabinho and Henderson. So I think you go again and you go and get these 3 points now, because we don't want to get caught up too early in all of this, but Liverpool need to be going on runs now. I think Liverpool need to start looking like they can go and win 6, 7, 8 on the bounce now, and I think this is where you sort of have to lay that down in a tough game that a lot of top sides will struggle against.
I think it's as much about building understandings as it is confidence as well for me. Throughout the first few games, it looked to me like just our play was a bit ponderous. We were a bit unsure about what we were meant to be doing. Like you said, what does a Liverpool goal look like? On Saturday, everything was just slicker, everything was quicker, and you can say it's only Bournemouth, and obviously there was problems there because the manager's been sacked since then, but still I just thought everything was quicker, everything we were doing. I was laughing. I did the bacon butty on Monday with James Sutton, and I was laughing, saying I thought I had the match on the wrong speed because it was so fast. I was watching Match of the Day going, you know what I mean, looking at me telly, thinking, I'd had a pint on Saturday night, do you know what I mean? But still, it was just so quick, and again, that's Liverpool at the best for me, and so I think, I'd be, as much around, building understandings, keeping those relationships going. Jürgen talks about rhythm, but it was the rhythm of a collective as well as individuals as well, and so Abby, that's another shout for me to just keep that going, keep that understanding going, and then adding other players as we go.
Exactly. I think one of the big things that we all sort of thought was off in those first few games was the pressing.
Yeah.
And I think Bournemouth, it suddenly reminded me, watching that, at the back of the Kop, it reminded me of those, last year, the season before, where we just looked like we had 10 more players than the opposition. And I think that's a big thing with the understanding thing that you say there. It's not just about understanding in terms of scoring goals, it's how each other move, how each other sort of press and the different triggers. And there's a lot of changes there for players to deal with. You've gone from almost quite a different midfield, in the forward line as well. There's completely different players there. So that all takes a bit of, figuring out in terms of who goes where, when, and how we all move with each other. So I think, that game would have done them a world of good, because they pressed just as good as they've done in the past. I thought they were absolutely brilliant, hounded them out, were first to everything. And I think, if they can go and build on that again, then this side will look really dangerous, and this new look Liverpool team will look really, really dangerous. It's
a week as well. That's the potential with the games coming thick and fast. There's potential to get confidence and rhythm, but also to go shooting up the table as well. Yeah. And I'm watching some of the games last night, and Chelsea getting beat again. There's quite a lot of draws and things like that. And for me, I'm targeting 3 wins this week. We've had 1. We can win on Wednesday night, and I'm confident, obviously, like I always am, that we can go to Goodison Park on Saturday and win. And what that does is it really kickstarts your season, but suddenly you look at the table and thinking, yeah, it's not what we wanted, but it's not looking too bad.
Exactly. Just like you said there, teams around us aren't exactly purring, I would say. Arsenal are the one exception, and I think the fixtures have been kind to them, you do have to say. And yes, they look really good, but even City going 2 goals down, that's happened a lot in the last few games. Guardiola's talked about it. Chelsea, we've seen look really inconsistent. Tuchel looks like he's about to lose it with them. He hates them, doesn't he? He hates them. He almost separates himself as if he has no responsibility over them, doesn't he? He's like, it's not my fault.
Your mates.
Yeah. Literally, it's wild. It's like, you used to see managers front up responsibility. He's just like, nah, nothing to do with me. I'm standing on the side. So yeah, teams around aren't exactly purring. I think there's going to be points dropped. We always say this, don't we? That there's not going to be another 90-point season. Who knows? But at the moment, it looks like teams and players and our managers are trying to find their rhythm and figure out how to deal with this sort of mad schedule, mad season. Yeah. So I think Liverpool have a chance now, even with the start, to completely put that behind them. And like you said, 3 wins on the bounce, especially against Everton, that just completely flips everything, and everyone is rosy again and positive.
Okay, obviously loads more in terms of previews for the game tonight across our subscription service. So if you download the app, you can enjoy all that. There's audio and video. So Ian Ryan is fronting our audio previews this season, doing a fantastic job. You can listen to that. And Team Talk is fronted by Josh Sexton, and we've moved that over to video to include little bits from the press conference this season. So here's a little clip from the Team Talk, which was filmed yesterday, straight after the press conference. Enjoy.
Craig, before we get into the specifics of what the manager said there in his press conference, he was, of course, once again asked about midfielders, of course, once again asked about transfers. And I do just wonder at this point whether he's making a bit of a rod for his own back. Obviously, he's not helped by the fact that this is what the journalists want to ask about, they want to talk about for the most part. But it does just feel like he could give a bit less detail than he is given, unless, of course, he is trying to send a clear message to the owners.
Which is a funny thing to say, first of all, in that we want all the detail as fans. We want to know exactly what's going on, and he's not telling us exactly, but he's telling us that you think he uses the word "ish," that they're still in it, which is, I think, good news. In that he could have just said, with only a day and a half left, that there's that nothing's happening and all of that. We could have got the bad news. It's burning my head out these past 2 press conferences, to be honest, in that they're not the usual thing that Jurgen Klopp does. He did something similar in 2020 when we needed some defenders, but saying things like he would be more risky, he would take more risks, saying things like when he was asked about the ownership and all of that. And I'd be all right with all of this if it was at the beginning of the summer and he's saying no, we need to, because we've spent like what is it, 15 million net spend. Like Liverpool should be spending more if they're going to challenge Man City. Certainly, if our manager needs a new midfielder, that is without a doubt. The problem is he was saying earlier in the window that he didn't need a new midfielder and that everyone was mad. And he said in our interview with the Anfield Wrap, no, we don't need one. We've got this, and this. Now it's changed. It's changed the week before the transfer window ends, and he's saying all these things. I'm like, oh, I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to be annoyed at. I know that like with the number of injuries that your strategy has to change, and I'm happy that he's decided, now we need one, we're looking for one. I just don't know who's winning from these things that are being said in these press conferences. Then you have to caveat that with like he's the one being asked the question, he's being the one told to sit up there and answer them.
All right, the Reds, to enjoy the rest of this video as well as all of our premium content, just click on the join button below and join our YouTube membership. You'll get all of our exclusive content, including our match previews, our post-match reaction, our exclusive interviews, and all the transfer chat about who is coming in and out. So yeah, share the journey with us, supporting Liverpool from the heart of the city. We're home, we're away. Come and share it with us. Up the Reds. So there was a little clip from the team talk. Like I say, if you enjoyed that and you want more, and why wouldn't you, then download the app, get stuck in. You can get some free tokens if you're not downloaded it already, or you can subscribe. It's £7 for audio, £7 for video, or £10 for both. And we think it's fantastic value, especially now the games are coming thick and fast. And also, there's plenty over the next few days, of course, on transfers. And so we recorded an award-winning gutter yesterday. Well, while the gutters generally is award-winning, that show is yet to win awards.
The general awards.
Yeah. But that was on Tuesday. We've got another one, obviously, tomorrow. And then today, I was speaking. I'm always worried to tempt fate until it's in the bag. Do you know what I mean? But someone from Sky Sports, I was speaking to at 1 o'clock today as well to get all the latest and to get a little bit behind the scenes about how it works in terms of the transfer deadline day and how mad it is being in that world that we're sort of part of, but not really for 24 hours. So we're looking forward to that. So we get absolutely loads of transfer stuff, and if anything does break and anything does happen, I wouldn't say you'll hear it first at the Anfield Wrap, but we'll certainly react to it very, very quickly indeed. And a couple of things to react to now, a couple of links. The interesting one, Douglas Luiz. It's a journalist over in Brazil, which is where Douglas Luiz is from, and that's been a little bit of a thing over the last couple of days. The links for Luis Diaz and Thiago came strongest, in the countries that they were from or at least playing in. And so it's Matthias Leal, who's got a tick. And I would say just a nice face, Fuad.
Yeah, reliable. Transfer guru face.
If I asked him for directions and he told me where to go, I'd be like, he knows.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He just looks like a stand-up guy to me. And just a lovely warm face on Matthias Leal. Read into that what you will. Have a look at his face yourselves and tell me I'm wrong.
We're in, aren't we? We're in. We're on board with him.
Yeah, I'm on board with him. Yeah, if I had a choice of people in a nightclub to ask where the toilets were, I'd go for Matthias Leal, based on his face alone, and his buttoned-up shirt, which means he means business. Anyway, he said that Liverpool are in for Douglas Luiz. Okay. That was an interesting one for me. There was quite a lot of hype around him over the last few years. Well, a few years ago, should I say. He doesn't really feel like he's sort of lived up to it. Apparently, Gerrard isn't completely enamoured with him, sort of, let's say. But there's 1 year left on his deal, and so it feels like a doable one. And I don't know, maybe it's 2 and 2 and 5, but it feels like Jurgen Klopp said in his press conference yesterday that they are still in for the midfielder, but obviously the closer it gets to the line, the harder it is to do. I think it's going to be really difficult now to persuade a club who don't want to sell to do so, because they've got no time to replace them. So you can throw, and people are saying throw an extra 20 million at Bellingham and stuff like that, but I just don't see what's in it for Dortmund. Really say, okay, we've got some more money in the bank, brilliant. We'd rather just have the player and then maybe get an extra 20 million pound for him next summer. And so I don't see that being working. I think we're to the point now, unfortunately for me, Fuad, that we need some sort of willing sellers. And so it's interesting that someone mentioned here in the comments the Tielemans links, rumours have sort of got going again. He's one with 1 year left on his deal. It feels like we're trying to probably in the situation now where we're trying to find the best of those situations.
Exactly, yeah. I think it is about just finding those bargains and those selling clubs who are sort of now at the point where they need to kind of offload. I think, yeah, the Douglas Luiz one is interesting because I remember a couple of years ago, it was really, he was at City, wasn't he? Villa got him from there, and then there was a lot of chat about him going back to City because of that release clause, and people were convinced that it was just going to be a thing, and it hasn't really happened, and I'm not quite sure what it is within that. Hasn't really got him to kick on to that next level. He seems to have everything raw ingredients wise, and in terms of passing ability, and he seems fairly quick and sort of an aggressive midfielder, which you'd like to see at that base of midfield. I'm a bit torn because Jurgen mentioned that whole thing about thinking about the short term and long term, and how these moves that you do now affect plans later on and what you do in the future. And I just think you don't want to be in the situation where you get someone in and you're sort of stuck with them. I think that's the thing he would like to avoid as much as possible. But also, from my point of view, you don't want to have that player who's just sort of sat there on the sidelines after a few months because everyone's come back fit. Yeah. And I'm encouraged by Elliott and Carvalho. I think they're really going to kick on now that they got the opportunity. I think that's the big thing when you have injuries. It gives people the opportunity that don't usually get the chance when you have a fully fit squad. But I again at the same time, completely going against myself, I wouldn't be against it just because I think having that body. If it reassures the manager and the coach coaching team, because it's very rare he talks about transfers as he has been recently. I find that very strange from him, and that does show maybe there is a thing there where he is worried. It is on his mind. So if it's more of a reassurance thing and having that body in there that he can call upon, then I'm all for it. And if it's got to be one of those bargain deals, one of these sort of selling clubs who are desperate to get rid now at the end of the transfer window, then we might just have to do that and go against what we normally do.
A couple of comments to bring in. Where are we? Cattle Robertson says Tielemans is only 25, which people forget, and he would try for Casido off Brighton. He's one who has been linked and one who maybe fits into what Fuad saying, where you feel like you've got a long-term plan for him. Tielemans does feel a little bit more to me like a sort of a stopgap, albeit a good one. But you never know, he might come in and really impress and then become part of Jürgen's sort of long-term plans. We shall see. Someone else said here, I still believe in Curtis Jones and Naby, but one of them will break my heart. That is the situation with all footballers, really. If we're honest, Robbie Fowler, the gobshite one, wants to know, would you take directions off Fuad and his lovely handsome face, John? It depends. If it was to a bar in town, then I would. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely sort of trust him on that. A couple of other comments that I want to sort of bring in with regard to midfielders. Someone said John Henry is at the game. I wonder if this is related to some transfer business, especially with Klopp mentioned risk. He was at the game on Saturday.
Yeah, he was.
If he is there again tonight, that'll be quite interesting because that would suggest that that they're being around for sort of something. I mean, it might have been a scheduled visit, but it does seem a little bit of a coincidence if he's there again today. I don't know what you think, Fuad.
Yeah. I think it's maybe also a bit of he has to show face every now and again, doesn't he, at Anfield and at the match, and it might just be a bit of a coincidence. But also, if there are meetings, if there are chats about, Klopp seems to be a little bit unhappy with the way things have been a little bit, and I think maybe there just needs to be honest conversations and sort of taking stock of where each other are at in terms of what they want going forward. So maybe it is just a bit of that. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. What do you reckon he's done between Saturday and Wednesday, John Henry? I mean, it's probably just meetings and then going to bed because he's an old fella.
Yeah, Chapel Street, very much Chapel Street.
But it'd be nice if he bowling in New Brighton.
Yeah.
It's been nice weather.
It has been nice weather, yeah.
So could have maybe enjoyed a bit of the Leisure Peninsula.
Yeah.
A friend of mine did crazy golf for New Brighton. He said that the queues were massive and it was just loads of adults telling the kids to hurry up.
I reckon John skips the queues.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's got a wristband.
Yeah, exactly. He's not jumping into the river, is he? Like with all the kids. I don't think that's what he's up to.
Yeah.
There's got to be. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he's gone off to Formby.
Yeah. Yeah. Text him if you've seen John Henry out and about. Make it up, to be honest with you. The funnier the better. Just let me know where you've seen John Henry over the last few days. Let's get some rumours going. Pure lies is what I'm sort of in it for. What Jeremy has been up to. Southport on the rides. That sort of thing. Martin Meir looking at birds. Wherever you've seen John Henry, let us know. But in the meantime, enjoy the match tonight. Don't forget to download the Anfield Wrap app. Follow us across our social as well. We'll be out and about the game tonight, of course, as we always are at Liverpool games. But hope you enjoy it. I'll just quick shout for our merch as well. You've got a couple of nice t-shirts here, Mo Salah one, the Luiz Diaz one, which I absolutely love. I'll sort of lift that one up here as well. And these mugs that I'm drinking out and Fuad is largely using for the prop are available on there as well. So the AnfieldWrap.com/shop if you want to get yourself one of these. But yeah, nice one. Enjoy your meeting Johnny Hot Dogs, Ronnie Hot Dogs. That's Johnny's lad. We're just over, I think, but I reckon he's just told him to hang on. They're all in that Zoom waiting.
Just blame us.
Yeah, sorry, Ronnie. Sell some sausages up the heads.